This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am joined by Cyril Meidinger, who is joining us all the way from Cape Town, South Africa today. How are you today, Cyril?
All good, all good. Good morning, everyone.
So we are going to be looking at the 2018 J&G Chardonnay, which is currently available within Ontario. But just to put things into some kind of context, what is your relationship to this wine?
On my side, so just to start and put all the context. So I'm French myself, but I've been living and working in Cape Town, South Africa for the last 6 years.
Right.
Actually came to South Africa for 6 months and never left since. It's been a love at first sight with the people, with the wines and with everything surrounding. And for the last 6 years, I've been working for a company called Robinson and Sinclair, and we are the exports division for a couple of family-owned wineries from all the different regions of the Western Cape. Right. And with the wine of today, the J&G Chardonnay from the Goedverwacht family, yes, we are doing all the sales on the American and Canadian market for this family.
I see. Now tell us a little bit about Goedverwacht Family Wines, because I find that surname a little hard to pronounce, but tell us a little bit about the history of that particular estate. Yes,
sure. So the proper pronunciation, I would say, is Goedverwacht.
Okay, there you go.
It's an Afrikaans name, because yes, with the history of South Africa, you had all the French Huguenots and the Dutch as well. That's in the 18th century when they were kicked out of France and of Holland because of religious reasons. They all came to South Africa, and that's where the name comes from, Goedverwacht, which actually the translation means great expectations. So the farm is the land and the farm is called Great Expectations, and it's owned by the Dutoit family or Dutoit. So another French name. So they are direct descendants from those French Huguenots. And the winery has been started in 1960, and it's still run by the Dutoit family. Now by both the dad, Jan Dutoit, and the son, Gavi or Javi. And that's why it's very important, because it's actually the two letters of their first names, which are the name of the wine. So JG stands for Jan.
I see. Right.
And Gavi, or Javi, yes. And so the wine started in 1960 in Robertson. And it's quite a large farms in terms of vineyards planted. So there's about 200 hectares under vine. And like we said, it's located in the Robertson area, which is about 2.5, 3 hours away from Cape Town in the Western Cape. So what's important to keep in mind with the Western Cape is that you've got the Atlantic Ocean on the one side, and then you've got the Indian Ocean on the other side. And then the further or the closer you are from the oceans, it influences a lot the wines. And then the second influence is the mountains. So Robertson is pretty inland, so quite far from both oceans.
About 60 miles, right? From 60 miles from on the western side, at least.
Exactly, yes. So it doesn't have a lot of maritime influence. It has more from the surrounding mountains. So the cooling breezes that come every evening in Robertson is more from the surrounding mountains.
Now, without those cooling breezes, over the top of those mountains to the north, you do have a desert area. So it wouldn't be all that useful for growing grapes if you didn't have that cooling influence, right?
Exactly, yes. So in the north, we've got what we call the Karoo Desert, which is one of the driest places in South Africa. It's where the Burning Man festival, the Africa Burn Festival, takes place every year. Yeah, so that's one of the things why the Karoo is famous. But yes, very dry, very hot in summer. and it's very hard to grow grapes there. So there in Robertson, we are a little bit south there, and we are on the other side of the mountains, like we said. So quite hot, pretty
Yes.
hot during the day. So if you go there in December or January, which is our summers, because remember we are in the southern hemisphere, so everything is opposite. So in December and January, it can get 38 or 40 degrees
Oh boy.
during the day, so very hot. But luckily, a good diurnal switches with
Yes.
the evenings being much colder because of those mountain breezes. So.
Now, because of that heat there's never been any issues with ripening grapes within Robertson. And for that reason, it's been seen as being a kind of, I'm not going to call it industrial heartland, but for decades, it was known as being a workhorse area for producing, shall we say, not the best quality of wine, but lots and lots of quantities of wine. But that has been changing over the last decade or so.
That's true, and like you mentioned correctly, so very hot in Robertson, so perfect for ripening. But then besides sun, you also need the second element to grow grapes, which is water. And the one advantage of the Robertson Valley is that you've got the Breeder River that runs through all the region, and all the wineries are actually along the river, and they can draw I would say as much water as they want from the river to irrigate. So both those factors, a lot of sun and a lot of water, did make for a bulk wine region in the past, and you're right. And actually, the most planted variety was, or is still nowadays, Colombar in the Robertson Valley. And a lot of that Colombar was either used for, let's say, plain dry whites, or actually to be distilled to make brandy.
Right.
Because in South Africa, with KWV, the historical cooperative, which makes wines, but which also makes a big brandy production. So yes, it's true that for the last 20 or 30 years, Robertson was known for large cooperatives, big volumes, big yields. But luckily, all those things, I would say, in the last 5 to 10 years have been changing, with a lot of quality producers like De Wetsoff, for example, is a famous one. Springfield, and a lot of sparkling producers, lots of MCC producers that have been raising the bar and making more terroir-specific wines in the Robertson Valley. And Goedverwacht is one of those producers, which I would say is still the best of both worlds, in the sense that, like I said, there's 200 hectares, so there is decent volumes that are made at the farm, but still under the capacity of the vineyards. So still with a great focus on the quality, lowering the yields, doing as much as they can by hand, being sustainably certified. So yes, so Robertson more and more recognized nowadays for one of the upcoming regions.
Yes. Now, you mentioned terroir, and in my memory of Robertson, it's actually quite a patchwork of terroir, because you have alluvial deposits that go along the side of the river. You also have kind of gravel areas, and then you have little pockets of limestone here and there. And it is on this limestone that Chardonnay particularly thrives, which brings us to the 2018, it's 18, yes, it is, J&G Chardonnay available in our market. Tell us a little bit about this wine. This is one of the entry-level wines for the winery, but it's quite a special wine.
Exactly, yes. And like I said, Robertson used to be famous on the volume side for Chenin, but now on the quality side, it is famous for Chardonnay. Like I said, with those famous producers like De Wetsoff, who's been producing probably 7 or 8 different Chardonnays, and with us at Goedverwacht. because exactly like you mentioned, there is this those particular patches of limestone which just like Burgundy, which are perfect to grow the Chardonnay, because the limestone brings some nice acidity to the wines. It helps to retain all the freshness. So yes, we have about 25 hectares of Chardonnay on the farm, and this J&G Chardonnay comes from 2 or 3 of the best plots of limestone Chardonnay that we have on the farm. It's it's a mix of hand and machine harvest, and everything is harvested at night, or actually from the early hours in the morning, because, like we said, because of the heat. The wine is crushed, is destemmed, and what's also important, we only use the free run juice for this particular cuvee. And yeah, we ferment the wine, and it actually spends about 9 months in French oak barrels, so in second and third fill barrels for this wine in particular. And I would say that I don't know exactly how it is in Ontario at the moment, but Chardonnay was, I think, losing a little bit of trendiness, or was becoming a bit like the mom or the grandma's wine. And I think that was linked to the overly oaked Chardonnays. Whether here we've got the 9 months in oak, but there is no new oak. And like I said, I think it's the best of both worlds, in the sense that it gives this creaminess, it gives this palate weight on the Chardonnay, but it doesn't lose the freshness, the floralness, and the attractiveness of the wine.
Looking at my tasting notes on this wine, one of the things that I wrote twice, which means I was either a little bit intoxicated, or I was just struck by this part of the wine personality, was there was a minerality on it, and it was a chalky minerality that reminded me of maybe not quite a Chablis, but definitely something in Upper Burgundy. And maybe perhaps Macon. I think it was more similar to Macon, but with that ripeness that is inherent to the Robertson region. So it was kind of like the best of both worlds there. It was an interesting wine to taste, because it did have that, there was a tension there, the acidity was there, which brings me to one question. Do you have to acidify?
We can acidify in South Africa, and in a lot of warmer regions, a lot of winemakers do that. Yes. But for this particular wine and at Goedverwacht, no, we don't acidify.
Interesting.
And the other reason why is because the pH is pretty low on this wine. So we do have a natural acidity because of those limestone soils, which prevent us from adding any or from acidifying the wine. And I think also in the long run, in the long term, when wines that tend to be with not natural acidity, at some points when the wine ages in bottle, you start to feel that the acidity is not in balance anymore, that it's not in place. So
it's like when someone gets older and they have a bad tattoo.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just doesn't quite sit there or gel anymore. Now, in your experience, because you've been working with this wine for some time, you must have had it alongside a number of different food pairings. Where would you place this at the dinner table?
Well, last Friday, I cooked shrimp curry at home, and I had another Chardonnay. But if I had this J&G Chardonnay, I think it would have been a great pairing for this curry. So spicy, but not too spicy, and then with still the shrimps and the fishy parts. So that would be my first recommendation. And then anything that has to do with chicken. So any type of white meats, of cold salads. I know it's it's not the best time of the season now for cold salads, more summer dishes. But maybe also now going towards autumn in Canada and in the Northern Hemisphere, maybe with some soups, so pumpkin soups. I think
actually good call on that. Yes, yeah. I was looking on your website and there was a mention of tandoori chicken, and I live out in the country now, so I don't get the chance to have good Indian food. And I was thinking about that tandoor spice, which isn't too in your face, and I thought that would be, yeah, I could see that working. So I'm going to take a mission down to Toronto to pick up some tandoori chicken, and I'll try it with some of your wine. Cyril, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Very nice to meet you. And you're just about to go to bed, probably.
Well, I'm about to finish the day and actually to have a glass of wine soon. Exactly.
Oh, excellent. Well deserved. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have a chance to catch up in the future.
Cool, with pleasure. Thanks very much.
Take care out there. Bye for now.
Cheers. Bye.